Thank you for your interest in our poster. My name is Meg Attwood, and I'm an ESRC-funded PhD student working with Chris Gerald at the University of Bristol. Working memory has become a key explanatory mechanism for the cognitive difficulties associated with anxiety. According to cognitive interference accounts, anxiety captures resource from the limited capacity working memory system and impairs task performance. Mixed empirical findings suggest these cognitive interference accounts are oversimplified. While anxiety disorders are common in adolescents, there is limited understanding of the cognitive mechanisms that serve to introduce and sustain these symptoms. The studies reported here investigated the relationship between anxiety and working memory performance in typically developing adolescents, using self-report measures and a battery of carefully matched working memory tasks. Participants aged 16 to 18 completed the Behavior Rating Inventory of Executive Function, Brief 2, and both trait and state scales of the State Trait Inventory of Cognitive and Somatic Anxiety, STICSA. These measures were followed by a battery of working memory tasks that included complex span and in-back tasks, each with a verbal and visuospatial condition. In the complex span tasks, participants were presented with a series of storage items, either digits or locations, which were interleaved with letter pairs that required either a rhyming or symmetry judgment. At the end of each trial, participants were asked to recall the storage items in correct serial order. In both conditions, 4 trials were presented at each list length 3 to 9. In the end-back tasks, participants were presented with runs of stimuli, either digits or locations, and asked to determine whether the current stimulus was a match for the 1-2 back in the series. While there is some debate about the validity of the end-back task as a measure of working memory performance, this task is regularly used in the anxiety literature, and including it allows us to link to this body of work. In both studies, increased traits anxiety was associated with greater self-reported executive function difficulty, and this was observed across all subscales of the Brief 2 except self-monitoring. There was, however, no evidence of pervasive anxiety-related working memory impairment in the behavioral measures, in spite of our tasks demonstrating good reliability and interrelatedness. While the findings reported here from Study 2 present interesting leads, these need to be interpreted with caution given the tentative nature of this evidence. Figures 1 and 2 present only significant correlations using an alpha level of 0.05. While anxious individuals reported greater executive function difficulties, there was no evidence of pervasive anxiety-related working memory impairment. There is an acknowledged lack of agreement between self-report and behavioral measures of cognitive performance, yet anxiety-related working memory difficulties are well documented. Our subsequent research has sought to identify tasks sensitive to anxiety-related differences in adolescents and to disentangle the role of self-identified and more objective measures of cognitive difficulties. Thank you for listening, and please get in touch if you have any questions or comments about our poster.